going on, guys? You're on the sidelines with the Sideline guys. We're back. Been a long time coming, but you'll notice there's a few changes with the show, but we'll get into that in a second. Let me introduce to you all. This is Chris Negron. Is I pronouncing it the correct way?
Yes, sir. Christopher
Neg-
Negron. How's it
yes,
going, you
sir.
guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to the show. This Chris is going to be a major part of the Sideline guys. Um, Basically, as you guys know, we've had a lot of changes just in the last, I think, 8 months of the show. Is there's been different people coming in, and we haven't been as consistent with recording because there's been a lot of changes behind the scenes. So I wanted to let you all know we are going to be coming back. We are going to be more consistent with recordings. Um, the idea is to eventually record 2 to 3 days a week and have a rotation of different guys on the show, giving their breakdown analysis of football, basketball, MMA, baseball, everything like that. So we're going to get better. I promise. Just hang in there with us, and I promise you that that we'll get this thing done the right way. But let's just go ahead and get into it, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Um, we've got week one of the NFL. How excited? How excited are you, man?
Man, every time you're right here at the cusp, it's like it's been a long time coming. You already
Yeah,
theory crafted the whole season. You already
yeah.
know what's gonna happen. And then week one happens and everything was just flipped on his head. So yeah,
Yeah,
always looking forward to the kickoff for sure.
yeah. Did you with preseason being 3 games this year, did you find it to be different, or did you kind of like do you feel like it was the same in terms of
Uh
evaluation?
I feel like for the most part it was definitely the same. All the guys that you're coming to see are usually out past that
Hmm.
15-minute mark, but besides that, definitely pretty routine in my opinion.
Yeah,
Obviously, some players did definitely better than others, which I'm
yeah.
looking forward to talk about, especially with this first matchup. But
Oh yeah,
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 I feel like everything's pretty routine. Obviously, this season being the first season with 17 weeks is going to be
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. That's gonna be
Um,
weird.
yeah, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's obviously going to be gunning to be the first team to get 17 wins. That'll be crazy too if that happens the first season.
What team do you think that's possible to do that with?
That's a real
If
good question.
if at
If
all.
at all, if at all. I mean, there's some obvious answers. I would definitely say out of the two, it'll probably be Chiefs
Yeah,
or definitely the Bucks looking to repeat.
yeah. You think
But
they're
those
going?
are I think those are long shots though. I think this
Yeah.
season is going to be more competitive than people think.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. I'm looking forward to it, man. Okay, for let's get to know each other real quick.
Yes, sir.
Which who's your team? Which team is your team?
Yes. So I was looking for something to represent it. I gotta represent more next time I get on. But I'm a Ravens guy. Ravens all day. That's gonna be the
Oh,
last game we're talking about.
yeah.
But I'm always gonna be tooting the Ravens horn no matter what for sure.
Okay, okay. So this is gonna be interesting. We have some. I know some people that are in the audience that are diehard Ravens fans that have clowned me for the last, I'd say, 5 months for no reason.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. So
Bird gang, bird gang.
this is gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We have a kickoff tonight. Um, the Cowboys versus Bucks. What are your hopefully yeah, this should be coming out tomorrow. So yeah, let's just go ahead and say tonight.
Let's
Let's go ahead
do
and
it.
say tonight. Yeah. Cowboys Bucks. What's the breakdown you want to do with this?
Yes, sir. So this is actually what I was mentioning earlier about standouts in preseason. I
Yeah.
think the Cowboys' first round pick, Michael Parsons, is a great, and I think he definitely has a chance to add some depth into their defense and give some sort of problems for Brady. I know everyone loves pointing to that Washington playoff game, and it's
Hmm.
always interesting to try to point out those matchups to see who could give Brady potentially some issues. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm really looking forward to this game. I think both teams definitely have gotten better. Um, Obviously, Dak coming back from that injury, you want to see how strong he comes back and how he looks. But I think this has all the makings of having some big defensive plays, but being a high offense game, and you love to see those.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Martin is going to be out for this game, right? Or are
Yep.
they saying okay? So my see, this is my biggest thing with Dallas. And people always think I can't properly evaluate or analyze the Cowboys because I'm an Eagles fan. I, I don't think they're going to do as well this season as other people do. I'm still kind of down on Zeke. So as soon as dude got paid, that was it. His production has gone down. And people can have different reasons in terms of like the line and then like Dak being out last year, but he wasn't doing well with Dak being in there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think they're going to start off rocky this year. That's what I'm expecting. I don't really believe. I'm not a big believer in Mike McCarthy. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So it's replacing Jason Garrett with Mike McCarthy, and it's kind of like that to me. That felt like a lateral move. So I don't really see them doing too much this year. What was their record last year? It was like that whole division was absolute garbage last year.
For sure, for sure. But
But
I think it was definitely affected by him going down too. If you just look at the numbers that he had early on,
mhm.
I think his production could definitely boost Zeke's, and
Oh yeah.
hopefully they could even each other out in that way. Because I agree, he's definitely regressed from where he was and where everyone thought he could be. I think that's the important part. A lot of the
Mhm.
times people get very impatient with these backs. I think it's the hardest position in the league
Yeah.
to be a consistent player at in general.
Yeah.
And to have that longevity that everyone just expects, no matter what, because of the greats, they
Mhm.
just expect that that position will always be healthy for a certain amount of time, and that's just not how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested though to see, like I mentioned, how that coming back affects that dynamic. I know that their passing attack is going to be great to watch, no matter
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
got people out on the line or not.
Yeah.
But I agree, it's hard to not have a rocky start when you're facing the defending champs week one.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like I'm a fan of Dak. Like despite them, despite him being a Cowboy, I'm actually a fan of his. So I want to see, them have limited success because I nothing past the Eagles at all. That will be my bias.
Of
I will
course,
admit that's my bias right there. But yeah, I just don't see them doing much this year. I'm I'm uh I'm skeptical. But let me ask you this: of all the backs, it's kind of like getting off subject a little bit, but of all the backs in the division, you have Barkley, Sanders, Gibson, and Zeke. What would your order be for the four?
man, there's questions in that top three. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Um, I would say if I'm starting a league over and I'm building a team, I'm
Mhm.
definitely taking Barkley,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Um, Zeke is definitely second still, but I would say Gibson third and then Sanders. I'm high. I like. I'm
Really?
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love watching Sanders. Those big plays are fun, but I feel like
Yeah.
lately the chunk plays and everything else, there's been some issues that need to be addressed. But I think as far as staying healthy and that's not a factor, that will be my picks.
Yeah, I got Barkley one right now. Uh Honestly, I'm putting Sanders two. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I think and this is not with my bias, but when with last 2 years with him, uh Doug Peterson did a horrible job with coaching. Horrible job in terms of like setting up the plays, calling the plays. Like Sanders would have like chunk yards for the first half and then nothing in the second half because it was more so designed for Wentz, designed for other backs to do other things that they weren't. It was not productive. I'm expecting a more productive year from him this year. So with them getting their offensive line back, and seeing how they've done in training camp, I'm expecting more from him. My only knock with him is that he's really bad with catching. Like he's not a great receiving back. So that will probably be the only reason why I put him. I can even think about putting him third. Is because his hands are not. He fumbles the ball way too much. Um, so that would be my only knock against them. But I think just as just with overall capabilities, I have Barkley one still, but I think I would put Sanders two, Gibson three, and then Zeke four. Zeke's just been disappointing to me for the last 2 years, 2 3 years.
Sure, for sure.
So yeah,
And I'm rating it. I'm thinking about it like as if everyone's healthy, and that's my issue with Sanders. I know that you don't like
yeah,
to hear it. I know you none of you guys like to hear it, but
yeah.
just those inconsistencies and those issues, I feel like you can definitely expect certain things, especially with new people coming in, and of course all the weapons you guys added to free up that running game. But you never know how these things are going to go, and you can, like I
Yeah,
said, you can only, and I prefer at that position reliability. Of course Zeke has not been that at all, but
yeah,
as
yeah.
far as I would say, as a every year as we're starting out, they're expecting the best out of these players. So if I was to
Hmm.
be expecting the best out of Zeke and compared to Sanders and Gibson, I don't know. It's just that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, and you could actually argue Gibson's number two. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even I'm not
Yep.
even mad at that. Like you could argue that. I just know for me, I have questions with Washington, uh, in terms of
So many.
yeah, quarterback, offensive line. Like I don't know what they're gonna look like.
Mm.
So that's my only reason for saying that with Gibson being three. Like I'm not mad at putting Gibson two, but it's just there's so many questions with Washington that with the questions that I had with Philly, those were answered. The questions that I had with Dallas, to me, they're kind of the same. So it's not really there's not much guesswork in there. But my biggest question with New York is even just their offensive line and Daniel Jones. Like I think this to me this seems like this would be like the year where you're evaluating Jones in terms of like is he going to be the guy, you know?
100%.
So yeah, yeah. Sorry
And
about
the
going on
saddest
tangent.
part, real quick, that we're gonna get all around to this later as well, anyway. But
Yeah,
the saddest part about that too is everyone's putting all the hype in on Galladay as a signing. I personally don't really like the fit too much.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the way I feel about it is he's kind of being set up almost to fail if he does bad here. You know how the media is with every one of these teams in this division, in my opinion,
Yeah.
besides Washington. The media is going to be hyping them up no matter what, and then as soon as
Hmm.
anything bad happens, it's going to be first page too. So
Oh yeah, yeah,
just got to expect that, but we'll get to talking more about that later for
yeah.
sure.
Well, and that's also a byproduct of where they're located, right? Like New York's
Mm-hmm.
media, Philly's media, Dallas's media are all those. All three of those markets are
Those main
more
markets
harsh.
for
They
sure.
are more harsh on their teams. Washington is kind of like, yeah, like you can get away with certain things,
The
they're not gonna get mad.
expectation hasn't been built there, but I think going to
Yeah.
the playoffs and having that sort of game, I think there's you mentioned there's a lot of questions. I think there's some things that are 100% you're sure of when you're playing that team.
Oh, Chase Young for sure.
Yeah, and the other players they got this
Yeah,
year, man.
yeah, yeah.
There's a little story I want to talk about too, but we'll get there later.
Bet.
Let's get back on track.
Yes,
Because
sir.
of course you're gonna want to talk about the East first off, but
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, what are you thinking about this first game? What's your pick, and what do you have to add?
Tampa's winning. There's no questions in my mind with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, they were. And think the crazy thing about them, they were able to bring back everyone for the most part from last year. Like I don't think they even lost anyone that was like huge in free agency, right? They were mainly able to bring everybody back. So um I'm honestly expecting a lot from them this year. I don't know that they're gonna go to the Super Bowl, but I'm expecting a lot from this year, a lot from them this year. So I think they're gonna be able to start off very well, very well with game one. So is it gonna be a blowout? I don't know. I don't know because, like you mentioned, like Dallas's defense is they. My whole thing is Sean Lee is gone, and you're basically replacing him with Micah Parsons. So I'm expecting them to be able to do a little bit more this year. Their defense was kind of it was it's been kind of bad. But that's mainly because of the fact that they've been on the field a lot more, So especially last year, with Dak going down, their offense got stalled. So they were on the field a lot more last year to me because of the fact that your offense isn't able to do anything. So I'm expecting a little bit more from them this year on the defensive side. Sean Lee, retiring is addition by subtraction to me. You know, I still think Van Der Esch has a lot to offer, so I'm expecting a big game from him. To be honest, I think he has a lot to prove this year. I think he has a lot to prove. So I would like to see how he and Parsons do against Brady. But to me, you're still gonna see those rookie mistakes from Parsons. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know, but they're gonna be interesting. They're gonna be interesting to watch this year for sure. But I don't know if I have a score prediction. That's the only thing. I don't know if I have a score prediction. I do see Tampa coming out on top though.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. I think their defense this year is a little bit more than just Parsons. I'm sorry, I just kind of have to tough this out. I don't know what's going on. It's loud as hell over here.
Oh no,
But
you're good, man.
I feel like with their additions, they got that linebacker from the Falcons as well, Keanu O'Neal.
That's right.
I think
Yeah.
that they're gonna look better defensively, but like you said, not having that emphasis, being able to stretch out those plays, whether it's Dak running the ball and being able to stretch out it that way, or Zeke doing his thing. Hopefully, that's what we want to see more so. But I'm sure that they'll be able to keep that defense off the field as much as they possibly can. And this game specifically is going to be hard to do that though.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I feel like in the divisional matchups, they have a much better chance at looking better or what they're expected to look like.
Hmm.
But this week, I think they're definitely going to be in for a tough one. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
But I definitely am going with the Bucks.
Yeah. 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 Bucks winning that one. So let's see. What's the next matchup we have here? Oh, Eagles and Falcons.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna let you start off with this one.
I, there's no other way to say this. I don't have any trust in Atlanta, bro. Like this isn't even as an Eagles fan. I don't have trust in Atlanta. I think that they kind of messed up. Even though, like I get why they drafted Kyle Pitts. Like
Mhm.
he is an excellent talent, but to me, it felt like this year was the year to go ahead and get the ball rolling on finding Matt Ryan's replacement.
Mhm.
Um, I think they have a possibility of adding Cam Newton if they need to during the season. Which, if they do that, if they were to do that, I think they have a better shot at being 2 or 3 in the division this year. Um, I really don't. I don't think they're gonna do much this year at all. They're gonna be fun to watch just because of Kyle Pitts. That's literally it to me. To me, this game is gonna be a blowout. This doesn't even. I have no trust in Atlanta whatsoever.
Mhm.
No trust. Their defense is porous. You know.
For
Um,
sure. That's the problem.
so I think any team facing the Falcons this year is gonna have a ball. Like to me, the Falcons, if they stay as they are this year, I mean, as they are right now, um, I can't see them winning more than 5 games.
Okay.
I honestly can't see it. It's hard. It's hard to trust them to do anything. Like I want to see Pitts have a great year. And I think he will because the dude is just explosive. But I don't see I, I don't see them doing much. That offense is gonna be on the field a lot this year. Fantasy wise, though, I think Pitts is gonna be very interesting. I think he's one of the guys that you have to get. I
Mhm.
think you have to get him, but that's the best I think they're gonna do. 5 games. I don't and it might be like they barely win those games. I don't see much happening for them this year. So I think Eagles win this without issue. They've I was actually thinking that going into this season that the Eagles weren't going to um, do much in terms of the offseason. I wasn't expecting much from them. You move on from Wentz, you move on from you bring in a whole new coaching staff on both sides of the ball. Um, you let me see, you bring in Devontae Smith, you um bring in Joe Flacco. Like I at first I kind of doubted them because Howie Roseman is like he's one of those GMs that I've you like him when you like him, and then like he does something so stupid sometimes. It's just like you can't believe it. So I had no faith in them this offseason. I had no expectation at all. I think he proved me wrong. I think with the additions that they've made, they have I think close to like 50, it's either like 50 or 54 million in dead money this year. With them being able to do what they did this offseason with those restraints, I actually think that the Eagles will surprise a lot of people. I'm not saying they're gonna win the Super Bowl, all that, but I do believe that they will have the ability to win the division. I do believe they'll have the ability to. And because of that, and the Falcons, I don't even see them winning 5 games. Like to me, this is just like one like a blowout. I don't even think this is a game that people are going to be watching after halftime. To be completely honest,
Wow.
I
Um,
really don't.
I'm not gonna lie, you're way more convicted than I am.
Yeah.
I feel like with both of these teams, you could point the finger at some of the things you addressed for both of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
The off seasons, while they were good for both teams offensively, I think defensively has been the problem historically, and especially for the Eagles. That's not as easy to say. When things were going as expected, you could say that the offense was producing at a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we had all those issues. Thankfully, we're moving on now, and hopefully, this new era brings about new things.
Yeah.
But I personally feel like both teams still haven't really addressed those issues, and I think getting a safety for the Falcons, like you said, hopefully he's able to produce as a rookie. But like you said, you don't want to be counting too much on these rookies. I don't have some sort of playoff expectations for the Falcons either. I
Mm-hmm.
think that they're going to be much better offensively than what people think, though. I don't think Matt Ryan is necessarily the problem. I think keeping him at a place where he can throw is the
Yeah.
problem,
Yeah.
and their issues at running back are pretty glaring too. Obviously, they got
Mm-hmm.
picked up Mike Davis, which should be a productive back, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously when you took that throw on Gurley, it was definitely a little disappointing and sad to see him out of the league. It's crazy how fast, like I mentioned
That was
earlier,
quick.
these running backs, everyone expects them to last a very long time, and 2 years ago he was goaded. Everyone was talking
Yeah.
about how goaded he was. So, um, but yeah, that's the life of the in the NFL. I definitely feel like Eagles are going to be doing much better this year. I think there are some nightmare scenarios. Like you can also see a scenario where the Eagles lose this first game and after that are just having issues with injuries. I like the size on a lot of your offensive pieces. Your
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, Devontae Smith, he's a great route runner. He's a great tactician. But as far as NFL build, I think that this rookie year for both of them might not be as easy as a lot of people think. But as far as this game, I definitely am going with the Eagles as well. I think that they have a much higher upside.
Mm.
But I think that the Falcons definitely could surprise some people this year if everything works out right.
So let me address what you said. I actually think that this is the best defense that the Eagles have had in like close to like 10 years,
Really?
to be completely honest. You added Ryan Kerrigan. You're bringing in Steve Nelson as well, which now we actually have cornerbacks. Like I can't remember the last time I was actually able to believe in that believe in the cornerbacks. But the team looks really good. Like our defense, our Super Bowl year, I really liked it. But to me, this they have more depth now. I don't remember actually having depth on our defense It's been a while since I feel like we've had that. Now on the defensive line, they've been able to rotate those guys out in and out and be good. But the secondary has been porous for years.
Sure.
So that's why like I'm actually um I feel better. Let me just say it like that. I feel significantly better. I think Devontae, um, is he skinny? Yes. But I think that them having the ability to utilize Zach Ertz, Dallas Goddard, um, who else? Oh my God, I'm blanking on the guy's name. But you got Miles Sanders, you got Jordan Howard. Um, I think they have weapons on the offense that will be able to create diversions. Jalen Rager, that's
The Rager
Rager.
bombs.
I'm telling you right now, Rager coming in and going in the slot this year, to me, that makes significantly more sense than what he was doing last year. And last year he was horrible. Not because he couldn't work, but because Doug Peterson was not like he wasn't coaching right. He wasn't coaching right, and I think that there was a lot of glaring issues on the coaching side that messed up the offense. So Jalen Hurts is going to just in the small sample size that we had from him last year. I expect him to do exceedingly well this year. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but if the Cowboys can say it, why can't we? The
For
Cowboys say
sure.
it every year. You know what I'm saying? So I have expected this to me feels the same way 2017 felt, where you're going into the year, everybody's just like 9-7 at best. Like that's what they were kind of like more so looking at us as, like just like, like just below 500 team, or right at 500, whatever. Like they didn't expect much from us. First round exit of the playoffs, and that was it. So I have higher expectations than other people do, especially within the fan base. Trust me, the whole fan base does not agree with me. But
Yeah, definitely. I'm
yeah,
just gonna say my last piece, and we got to move on. But I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that definitely that playoff, I mean, that Super Bowl year, the defense wasn't expected to be as good and productive as it was.
yeah,
I think a lot of the players definitely rose to the occasion that season and even got paid for it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think it's really important to remember that. I agree. There's definitely been addressing a lot of the issues that they've been having, but as far as the actual production, I would say you could look at a lot of games last year where some of those pieces aren't doing too well. So I definitely see the potential. There's
yeah,
always that's where we always live in the beginning
yeah,
of these seasons,
yeah,
in
yeah,
potential land.
yeah.
But personally, the way I feel about that defense is, if a lot of guys in that division are being looked at as stars, is because of who they're playing often, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely interested to see if they're able to rise to the occasion, like you're saying that they are.
Yeah, they
But
will. Jim Schwartz is gone.
we got our answer. We got our
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So the next game we have Steelers at Buffalo. Steelers at Buffalo. This is going to be an interesting game. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, obviously, I got a lot to say.
Yeah.
This is controversial. A lot of people are high on the Steelers. I feel like they're gonna have a mediocre year this year. I'm high on
Yeah.
Najee Harris. I think that he's a very good back. I just feel like they have so many issues and so many notable people that are leaving on their offensive and defensive line. Obviously, they have such good key pieces, and they're always good at finding ways to make things work with the system. But
Mhm.
I feel like we're watching the corpse of Big Ben and what he has left, and it's
Oh.
hard to watch, man. Honestly, it was one of those situations where I was watching that Browns game, and it was a feel good game for the Browns, but I
Hmm.
feel like both of those teams lost in that game.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and a lot of people didn't realize that, like, but both of those teams looked very off in that game,
Yeah, they
and
did.
I just feel like moving forward, you can't expect him to be healthy, and you can't expect him to look good when he is healthy. So I'm concerned about the Steelers team, and it doesn't help that they're playing, in my opinion, a dark horse to be a Super Bowl champion this year in the Bills.
Yeah.
They've gotten better. And
They have.
everyone loves to look the other way about it. They got some depth in that right RB position with Breida. Obviously, he's not going to do too much. Everyone's sort of looking at Moss and saying who's going to be the one to step up here.
Hmm.
It's so funny whenever I watch Singletary. Everyone always talks about how he's so slow. He's not an explosive back at all, but I'm
Yeah.
always seeing him find those holes, and it's funny. I'm
Yeah.
always I'm always encouraging it because sometimes with the fumbling issues that Moss had, it's almost a
Mhm.
more consistent option for them to go to.
Yeah.
But with the way Josh is playing, if he keeps that up, I mean, it's just gonna be crazy. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to this season for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and I just think that this game is gonna be a blowout. I think a lot of Steelers fans are looking forward to having an explosive offense. I don't know if
Hmm.
it's gonna be that at all. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Especially to me with Alejandro Villanueva leaving. Like
mhm.
that was to me one of the biggest hits for Pennsylvania for Pittsburgh. Um and they're also kind of like trying to not pay TJ Watt, which I don't understand. Um b- Roethlisberger shouldn't be there, bro. I feel like Pittsburgh's issue is Roethlisberger. Like that's where it starts because it's affected all the other positions on the team. Um,
I was
who's their
quickly going to mention
backup?
that. Sorry to
No,
interrupt.
you
I was
good.
quickly going
You
to
good.
mention that about the line. It's
Yeah,
the same thing. Their line isn't the O line isn't bad. It wasn't historically bad. I feel like they're made out to look even worse because of
yeah,
a lot of his decisions.
yeah, yeah,
So I think that hit to the line isn't going to be too pronounced. Once again, it's just like you mentioned that quarterback issue. I don't even know who his backup is, to be frank. But they weren't looking good in the preseason from the games that I
nah,
saw.
nah. And I don't put too much stock in the preseason
Do
for
I?
any team, but Jesus.
Yeah.
If you're not really good at with number twos, like if you're not even able to just be like okay with your second squad, uh, that's gonna be a long year, bro. It's gonna be a long year.
And with the rookie running back, you don't want to have to put
Yeah,
that pressure on them. You don't want
yeah,
to have them be a three down back on a team
yeah,
where you're expected to be this high powered offense.
yeah.
So this is another team where definitely their upside is very high.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I like to doubt them, they always find a way to make it
Yeah,
work. Much
yeah,
respect to their
yeah,
coach. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
yeah,
much respect to him because he always finds a way to make it work, especially defensively. But like you said, they should have paid that man months ago. They should have gotten
yeah,
that taken care of because he's their biggest piece on that side of the ball.
yeah. If you lose him, that's it. Like,
Exactly. If you're not going to go after a quarterback and you're going to keep your team, you better keep your defense because
yeah,
now
yeah.
you're trying to mitigate those issues.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, because I mean Roethlisberger can't run. He can't run. Like
He
it's
tries to every play though.
yeah,
That's the issue.
and that's the problem with him. So like to me they should, you know what, Mason Rudolph is their backup. That's who it is.
Mm.
Cam would be there. Would look good there too.
There's a lot of places that
Cam will
you
look
could
good
you
there
could
too.
slot him in.
Yeah,
I don't understand why he hasn't been picked up yet. I really don't.
a lot of people are saying that it's him not getting the vaccine. That doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah,
I,
not at
I I
all.
don't I don't think that's the reason why he got cut. I think it's he wasn't there, and Mac Jones was able to just show what he could do in the time that Cam wasn't there. So
Exactly.
it just worked out that way. I don't think it had anything to do with the vaccine itself though.
For sure. Neither
Um
do I. That's a
yeah,
silly reason for
yeah.
people to point to, but the conspiracies are always out.
Yeah, yeah, but that's the problem. It's not even just like on like the dark web everything, right? Like this ESPN is saying this, right? Like it's
Exactly.
kind of weird. So yeah, I think this is gonna be a blowout. If Pittsburgh scores two touchdowns, I'll be surprised. To be completely
Wow.
honest, I don't. I Buffalo Buffalo is the division leader for sure to me. I don't see, like you said, they could very well end up in the Super Bowl this year. I wouldn't be surprised by it at all. That's a good team there. I like them. So yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, they're blowing out the Steelers.
For sure.
All right, so let's move on. We got the Jets versus Panthers next game.
Yes, sir.
What this is and this is
This is a fun one. This is
this
a
is a
fun one.
fun one. Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be a good one. What are your thoughts on this?
So there's so much obvious ones to start out with. You got the QB battle here.
Mm-hmm.
You let go of Sam Darnold. You gave away your once prized possession. Everyone is always talking about in the papers is the
Yeah.
best answer. Now he gets a chance to rebuild there in Carolina. I don't, man. I think it's going to be a tough season for
Yeah.
both of these teams.
Yeah.
A lot of people are excited about these teams
Yeah.
for the changes that they made. Um, Definitely the second round pick. We're going to see another one of these rookie QBs that has the job right now. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the five. I think the top five that we're going to be getting to, they probably all should be have the job by the end of the season for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I'm really interested. Obviously, every year that this is the talk. You know, whenever they do this rebuild, that it's going to be all magically fixed. I
Yeah.
don't think this
Yeah.
team is a playoff team either.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have highlights. And the way that they built around their offense is very good.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't really see that big time playmaker on their team. We're hoping that the rookie receiver does very well this year too, Elijah Moore.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm definitely. I think the hype around this season with the New York teams is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that the Jets are gonna win big here, and then everyone's gonna lose their mind.
Yeah.
But I think the big problem for Carolina is having Sam Darnold. I think that's their biggest problem. Um, I think that it's going to be great having McCaffrey back and everything he brings. Their
Yes.
offense is going to be good,
Yeah.
even if he makes a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just going to be. I think this is going to be another high scoring game, and I think everyone's going to come away from this thinking that the Jets are going to be the best thing ever.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Corey Davis is able to do. Um Coming from Tennessee, I think this is going to be a good move for him. Um Fantasy wise, I expect a lot from him. But like you said, I don't see the Jets doing much this year. And Carolina, to me, very well could be the to me their season could go one of two ways. They could be the second best in the division, or they could be the third team in the division where it's just by default. I I don't know how to predict Carolina this year. I think getting McCaffrey back is huge, but I don't I don't know what to expect from them, man. Like I like their picks this offseason. From the draft this year. This was good work from them. But I don't expect them to do too much. I think they're gonna have like a 500 type season. You
For
know,
sure. And I think their
yeah,
biggest problem is in order for them to have a good defense, they're relying on their young players getting better. And that
yeah,
doesn't always happen.
yeah,
It's always expected, but that doesn't always happen.
yeah. Now, if Keekly
But
was still there, I think their defense would be significantly better.
for sure.
You know, but he's gone.
I know.
So,
There's a couple of names this season that I'm seeing that I wrote down and that are free agents or that retired, and I'm like, man,
yeah,
that's gonna
it's
matter. Like
weird,
that
man.
changes the outline of this franchise. Like it's
Yeah,
just not what it once was. You know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you got the Jets winning this one.
Yeah. What about you?
I might go with Carolina on this one. Um, while I'm not a big fan of Sam Darnold in terms of like anointing him like like one of the like elite quarterbacks, I think that he's gonna have fun against this defense. It's a revenge game, so that might add a little sauce to it. So I'm kind of thinking that with that mixture of it being a bad defense, yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
greatest defense. The secondary
I
is
like their line. Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah
I like their
yeah
line
yeah. The line is really good, but the secondary they're gonna get picked apart. So
for sure. But
I
that's the
think
problem.
Carolina.
Who's picking them apart?
I know
Who's
this
doing
is like yeah.
it?
So, but I think Sam Darnold is it has a lot.
More options for sure.
Yeah, he's got more options for sure. But I think with this game, he's going to feel a way that will probably carry over into allowing him to pull out the win on this one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
All right,
Now we're
so
moving on. The
yes, sir.
biggest one. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
We got the Vikings versus Bengals. We're still in the
yeah,
1 p.m. games.
yeah, yeah,
I'm I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the pieces that they add around the offense to try to help. Obviously Burrow and with Jamar Chase reuniting. There's a lot of teams reuniting teammates, which I
yeah,
find pretty cool to see.
yeah. That's a great storyline.
For sure, exactly. And obviously all eyes are on the line for this team, and
Mhm.
whether or not they can protect Burrow, whether or not they can make space. It's good that everyone's good as far as Mixon, everyone's healthy. He's a very productive back for them.
Yeah,
I think that this this Vikings team is always the same story every year.
yeah.
They're trying to build around this defense. They definitely got some good pieces which you can point to.
Mhm.
Especially Xavier Woods, I like Pat Pete being a defensive veteran. You love to have those in order to call out certain things for your young guys.
Yeah,
I think ultimately their problem is all on offense. They lost one of their biggest weapons in Rudolph.
yeah.
I know that they have a rookie. I think they have a rookie tight end or a young tight end that they're looking toward to be the answer. But I feel like
Well,
their offense is going to be pretty slow this year.
like Irv Smith got injured, right? I think he's like towards Achilles or ACL, something like that.
Exactly.
So like, yeah, I think they traded for someone. I forgot who it was. I don't I don't expect much from their offense this year. I really don't. But like you said, it's the same story with the Vikings every year. So I think they'll win this game handedly. I think
Really,
I think yeah, I think the Bengals made a mistake. Like it's a nice storyline having Burrow and Chase together again. But if Burrow can't stay up, that does nothing for him. That does nothing for him. And I thought going offensive line with it's not a like a glamorous pick with the first pick, with your first pick, but like that's who you need to protect. You need to protect your quarterback. He just had a season-ending injury last year. So because of the line.
exactly.
So I don't see much changing for Cincinnati this year. I think this is going to be a one-sided game too. Like I think I
Yeah,
think that defense is going to get worn out.
for sure. They
Yeah,
did pick up Reef to try to help with that, but that's
yeah.
not the answers they need
It's
at all. I
it's
agree.
not.
And Rashawn
Yeah.
Slater is right there waiting for it. I think
Yeah.
that's another team that we could point to later on that
Yeah.
made the right decision as
Yeah.
far as their first round pick.
Yeah.
I still think it's yet to be seen. I really feel like this offense could be really good even with a bad line.
Really.
Once again, you're depending on someone to come back from a bad injury,
Hmm.
and that's always scary to think about. But
Yeah.
I think the explosiveness of this team at a high level, if you're looking at the highest of highs,
Yeah.
I think that they could be more productive than people think.
Hmm.
But once again, it's just you have to see how that line looks this year and whether or
Yeah.
not they were able to improve at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm actually going with the Bengals week one, so I'm gonna put that
Wow.
in. That my division is gonna be an interesting race to say the least.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. All right. So moving on. And yeah, again, Vikings. I have Vikings on that one.
Yeah, I got you.
But moving on, do we really have to call this game?
We have to. We could make it quick. If Trey Lance was playing, it would be a much better fun
It
game to watch. I'll
would.
admit.
It
Yep,
would. It would. San Francisco versus Detroit. San Francisco win this.
for
That's
sure.
there's no question about it. Like I didn't trust Jared Goff in LA. So I don't trust him in Detroit. Uh that's just it. That's just it. That team is not good.
And it was so much of a better pieces around him over there in LA.
Yeah,
He had the
yeah,
potential to do so much better. I
yeah.
agree 100%, man. I think a lot of people sleep on the Niners. I think that they last year showed even in the worst case scenario, as far as a lot of their players being injured throughout the entirety of the year,
Yeah,
they showed that they're still one of the best teams in that division. I think they have
yeah,
a chance to win the division,
I do too.
especially if the Seahawks end up having some issues with that line.
Hmm.
I think this should be a non-competitive game, as you mentioned. I
Yeah,
think they lost all the pieces of of their offense that were fun with Stafford.
yeah,
They
yeah.
lost all those main pieces and try to fill in with a couple of different random pieces.
Hmm.
I like Jamal Williams actually as a backup, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
They're just they stripped all their weapons away and brought in somebody who's, I would say, 1/4 the quarterback that they had before.
yeah,
And
and
you let the weapons go away. So you can't
yeah,
expect the offense to be even increment worse. They're going to
yeah,
be that way worse than they were last year, and
yeah,
even then they were still struggling. So I'm definitely going with the Niners here.
yeah. How many games do you think Detroit can realistically win, if any?
That's a good question. I think their max is 4 games. I would say
Yeah,
this team may have a top 3 pick this year.
yeah. I was gonna say three, so
Yeah,
and that's probably just at the end of the year when nobody's like really everybody's gearing up for the playoffs, and they're just
for
winning
sure.
garbage games. Yeah, they're not winning much this year. All right, so moving on, we have the Jaguars versus Texans.
Oh, this is another one we can skip.
Yeah. We know who's winning this one.
For
We know
sure.
who wins. This is a lopsided matchup. But Tyrod Taylor being the name the QB1. Did you like that move?
Um, I'm gonna be so honest right now, and this is gonna be the most passionate you get me on this show. But this is the best thing they did this year.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says about any allegations about this. This is an allegation. I don't care what anybody says. If that many people
Yeah.
are coming out, there's a lot more skeletons in the closet that still haven't come out.
Yeah.
I hope I don't see him on the field for at least a couple years.
Yeah.
He needs to get his shit together, young man,
Yeah.
as many people have said. But as far as how I think this is going to be on the field, I don't think it's going to be good. At least we're not going to have no doctors puncturing his lungs. Hopefully that doesn't happen
Yo,
this season.
bro. I Did he ever end up suing them?
He should have. He should have. He
Because
should have
that
got the
was
bag for that.
wild. Yeah, that was wild. That
Because
cost him
he
a
was
whole
looking
year.
good too
He
before that.
was.
He was
He
looking
was.
good.
He was.
I think that the problem is this team, I don't think is going to be good for another 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're fully committed on the rebuild, and they're not even rebuilding. So
No,
I
that's
don't
the
know what to
thing.
say.
Yeah.
They
They're,
don't even
they're,
have picks. So
then yeah, yeah, yeah. That's yeah. They're Lawrence is gonna have fun with this defense this
yeah,
game.
this is gonna
This,
be one of those pick them up right now in fantasy games.
yeah, I was
Everyone's
about to
gonna be
say if you could get him if you don't have him and he's there, it makes sense to get him at least for this game.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. If
yeah,
you have, especially if you have a bad matchup week run or something.
yeah, yeah. All right, so moving on, Seattle versus Indiana.
What are you thinking? Let's start.
I don't know. I don't know. This is one of those weird matchups, and I didn't even forgot they were even playing this first game. I see where there's potential with Indiana, right?
Mhm.
At the same time, I don't I don't know that I trust them. Like I want to, but I don't know that I can. Um, I think a lot of the stuff got cleared up with Seattle and Wilson, so I think that they're gonna. I think there's not gonna be as much pressure on them that was on them at the beginning of the offseason. Um, but I think they could. I think they can win this game. I do like Indiana's defense though. That's why I'm kind of like I'm kind of tossing in between. I know the narrative for Indiana is going to be Wentz and his health. I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore. My God, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that whole storyline anymore. But
For sure.
um, I think he'll do. I think he'll do well. I think he'll do well in Indiana. Like Frank Reich. Frank Reich was one of the reasons why he had that MVP level season a couple years ago, and everybody pointed to Wentz as being like the next guy during that year. So I think we could see something like that this year, but I'm still concerned with the foot. Um, for him and Quentin Nelson. Like it's one thing for you to come back from those injuries and you're in training camp or you're practicing or whatever you're doing run you run throughs and stuff like that. That's one thing. Live action game is a total different beast, and that's what actually has me nervous for both him and Nelson. And if God forbid both something happens to both of them in this game or any game this year, their offense is they're gonna struggle. So I don't know. I don't know. I will say this: Wentz better be glad that they didn't pick up Jason Peters. He better be happy that Indiana left him alone.
One less problem
Yeah, well, that's issue. So
for
yeah,
sure.
I think Seattle wins this one.
You'd have had some flashbacks there. I think
Yeah.
I agree. I think the Seattle's definitely looking good in this game. I do like the Colts a little bit more than most people. I think they have one of the best lines in football.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what he needs, especially with everything that happened and the way he's, like you said, recovering still. I feel like
yeah.
that's not something, although it's expected once again for you to come back from that injury within a year.
Hmm.
Um, you may come back in a year, but how do you look? And that's the issue. I
Yeah.
do agree. I think Seattle is definitely taking it this week, but I think that they may surprise some people this season.
Oh yeah, I think Indiana, even if they start off 0-1, it's not an indictment on them. It's just you just ran up against a team that was just better in
Exactly.
certain areas. So if everyone's healthy though, I think Indiana could actually be. I think Indiana could upset. I just don't trust their health right now
Mhm.
because of Winston and Nelson coming back from injury. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna choose Seattle, but I think it's very possible Indiana could win it too. Yeah,
Nice. Well,
yeah.
that's a perfect time to move on.
Yes, sir.
We're still in the 1 p.m. games. I feel like that
Which
I
is
always get
weird.
surprised on how many games they have
Yeah.
um, in that first time slot. But what do you think about, first of all, this Cardinals offense and the defense changes that they made this offseason?
I, bro, in Indiana, Arizona did a remarkable job. I think they did a remarkable job this offseason. Um, I think they're winning this game. First off, I think they're winning this game. But I can't like is okay. Answer me this because I haven't even I haven't looked into this in a while. Is Chandler Jones back? Like, it's
Yes.
did they
Yes,
sign
he
him?
is. Yes. Yes, they did.
Oh yeah, that defense is yeah. Never mind. He's back. What you got? Watt. Arizona's gonna be scary this year. They're
Mhm.
gonna be scary this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what Kyler Murray is able to do with the weapons that he has. I don't know that AJ Green is going to be someone that I expect a lot from, but I think he could surprise people. I'll say like that. I don't think he has too much pressure on him from expectations, so I think he could surprise a lot of people. Larry Fitzgerald, did he retire or is he just
Oh yeah,
banned?
he retired.
He
He
retired.
retired. I believe that they didn't pay him, which is kind of messed up, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's how it goes. It's a business, man.
At the end of the day, yeah, you can't be too loyal to that to a fault like that.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I expect a lot from them. I think Tennessee did a outstanding job this offseason. Like
Mhm.
getting Julio, yeah, that offense is gonna be fun to watch, man.
And Bud too. Bud is huge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is gonna be a really, really interesting team this year. Um, I just think that Arizona could possibly. I think they could. I think they'll win this game, but I think it'll be by like a field goal type of thing. I don't expect this to be a blowout.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was gonna say the way I feel about the Cardinals is the same. I think that they did a good job in the offseason at addressing a lot of the key needs. I think
yeah,
their defense overall, I don't expect too much in the secondary. I just feel like a lot of their issues were pressure related at sometimes too. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully Watt can help with that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously having Jones back, but I feel their offensive weapons aren't my favorite. They signed James Conner, which is a good pickup, but
Yeah.
I don't like him as much as a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people rate him very highly. I think he
Mm-hmm.
was with a good line in Pittsburgh, and that's what made him look better. They
Yeah.
have a lot of issues with the line, and it forces Kyler Murray to do a lot more than he should be. I
Mm-hmm.
know that some of those issues are also brought about because of his style of play, which I know is tough to point fingers at who's at fault there, but
Yeah.
I think their problems definitely on offense get overwritten because of how explosive a lot of their weapons are.
Yeah.
And I think the more consistent team, I think 100% in this game is the Titans. I think the Titans are going to win this game. I think that they have surprising chances at getting the best offense in the league. And I know that's crazy to hear with
Yeah.
Mahomes and Tampa Bay, but I think
Yeah.
with if Julio plays up to standard and obviously they still have the beast on the other side of the ball, AJ. I think they're gonna have one of the greatest 1-2 punches in the league as far as that. And you
Mm-hmm.
have the leading rusher the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Um, I think obviously the issue is on defense and whether or not they can carry, but I think the Titans are
Yeah.
gonna have this game. But I like this. I think this is gonna be one of the funnest games and definitely the one I'm watching at 1 p.m.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If my Eagles weren't playing at one, I'd be watching this one. Well, I'll probably split.
Yeah, I got
I'll
my
probably
red
split.
zone on too
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, but yeah. So moving on, we have Chargers versus the Washington football team, which that name is still it's starting to grow on me, to be completely honest.
Honestly, I like it way better than all the options they've been giving.
Oh my God. Horrible.
Horrible, horrible.
Horrible. Horrible.
They need to
My,
fire their marketing team
yeah.
100%.
just stick with Washington football team and we'll be good. Um, what are your predictions for this game?
Um, this is going to be a fun one. I actually think
Yeah.
that it's so easy to count off Washington because of their faults.
Yeah.
But once again, what you can expect from them every time out is they're going to have one of the best defenses this year.
Hmm.
They made one of the best lines even better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I also like too. This is a sneaky little story. I don't know if you've heard about this, but he Chase actually reached out. Was talking because one of his high school teammates, who was a running back, he wanted the team to sign him, and he actually was playing in the preseason, and they did sign him, which is funny enough.
Really?
They reunited. They were also but from that Washington area too, and he went undrafted and then came in and was able to make the team. So he's on the team.
Oh, nice.
He's 5'7". He's a small back, so they're
Oh,
always fun to watch.
those are my favorite.
I'm trying to grab up his name here. Um, but I do like Washington, man. I think that they have a good chance to be a real beat you down and grind you up team on both sides of the ball. They have
Hmm.
a pretty decent line.
Yeah.
I just feel like that QB play is going to be so bad that it's going
Yeah.
to make it's going to make that defense have to stay on the field a lot, which
Yeah.
even in that Bucks game, that wasn't a problem. Like
Yeah.
they were out there giving a lot of pressure the entire
Yeah.
night. I was the hardest game for the Bucks, in my opinion, in that postseason.
Hmm.
So I think that they're the things that they're good at, they're great at, and the things that they're bad at is the reasons why they're gonna hover around 500.
Yeah.
I think that they still haven't really addressed it the way they need to, and the Chargers did a really good job at addressing those needs. I don't really like a lot of his weapons, but I think that he's able to make it work, especially with the main ones. Obviously, the ones that everyone loves to pick for fantasy.
Keenan
But
Allen.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
I missed him on
But
one of my leagues, but I hated that.
yeah, you love to get them every single time, literally if you
Yeah.
can. But
Yeah.
I think losing Henry is gonna hurt them a lot more than people think. Even though
Yeah.
they got Cook, I feel like Cook is at a lower point than Henry.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think even with all of that, they're gonna have a really, really good offense, and their defense is gonna be pretty good, at least in the secondary. So I would definitely say this game is gonna be closer than people think, but I do have the Chargers.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be close as well. Just mainly because, well, I don't know. This is one of those confusing games because this could be a game that Ryan Fitzpatrick is Fitz magic.
Hmm.
This looks like one of those games where that could flip. Um, ah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one as a safe bet, but I wouldn't be surprised if Washington ended up winning this game.
For
I
sure.
wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah.
For sure. That's who I have winning your division, by the way. Just saying.
Really,
Yes, sir.
really, it's gonna be between Philly and Washington. I
Yeah.
don't. I The other teams, I'm not banking on them.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys have a chance to in the wild card spot, but
Yeah, I think
who
they'll get a
knows?
wild card, but that's about it for them. To me, that's their ceiling.
For sure.
Yeah.
But all right.
All
Now
right.
that now we got another fun one. I
Yeah.
didn't even realize this one is in the second slot. So this is probably the
Yeah.
game I'm gonna be watching. But Browns versus Chiefs. What do you think?
I think Chiefs win this one. I think Chiefs win this one. I think um Patrick Mahomes, with us seeing him the last time we saw him, that he made incredible plays, but he was hurt. So I think he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. He's gonna want to improve something. Um, this is not an indictment on Cleveland. I just think that he's just gonna go crazy. Um,
Sure.
I think Cleveland's gonna be a nice. They're gonna have a really good season this year, especially if Odell and Landry can stay healthy. I think if that ends up happening with their defense, I think they can. I don't think that they're not the Browns of our childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not the Browns that we remember. They are a better team. So I expect them to have a great season this year. I just think that this year, I mean, with week one, uh, Kansas is just going to go crazy. I'm picking Kansas this year. I mean,
To
for this
win
game.
this game. I
Yeah,
feel you. I definitely like all the moves they made this offseason too. I think they did a really good job picking up Orlando Brown. Of course, I'm tooting that horn, but
yeah, yeah.
um, they also got Joe Thuney too from the Patriots, which is just another option on that line.
Crazy.
Their line is crazy on both ends of the ball. And I love me some Honey Badger too. So I
Yeah, yeah,
personally, I also am very, very high on the Browns this year. I won't be surprised if they win the division. And this is a Ravens fan
yeah,
talking to you.
yeah,
So I definitely think that their moves on the line is great. They got Clowney. I think everyone's talking about the potential defensive rookie of the year, and Jeremiah Wusu Koromoa. I think they moved up just at the right time to get him, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
way he looked in the preseason, I know a lot of people don't rate it, but he looks like a playmaker. He
yeah.
looks explosive, and he's been forcing a lot of issues on that end. And so I'm looking forward to see how their defense plays. I think that's going to be the highlight for them this season.
Mm-hmm.
And if if they could get the what has been expected from Baker, I think they could have a really good year this year.
Yeah,
But like you, I agree. I'm definitely going with the Chiefs too,
yeah, yeah. That defense is gonna be fun to watch.
for
That's
sure.
oof. I might see if I can get them in fantasy as well. I think I have them in one of my leagues. I
I
was
do
able to get
too.
them.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was able to get them late too. I was
yeah,
surprised.
yeah, yeah. Because a lot of people choose defense like later, like toward the end of the
The
draft, and
draft.
I don't understand that.
Exactly.
I don't
Once
get
you
it.
already have your backups, especially at wide receiver and running
Yeah,
back, I always get my defense first because then you
yeah.
have expected points every week. Literally,
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
even in bad matchups, I feel like they're going to be getting good points for you. But
Oh yeah, yeah. This is gonna be one of the defenses that I look at to be um one of the best fantasy wise, but just in general, I think they're gonna be one of the best defenses in the league this year. I think they're gonna be. I think they're someone. They're a team that overall um people. I think some people are sleeping on them. If I'm gonna
mm,
be completely honest, I think they are sleeping on them, but I think this is gonna be a good season for them for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins against the Patriots.
Whew.
Let's start where everyone wants to start. Let's start with the Patriots. What do you think about their moves this offseason, and how do you feel their potential is on offense?
I'm confused a little bit. Now, the tight end position, I love those moves. getting both Johnu Smith and Hunter Henry. To me, those are great moves. Nelson Aguilar, speaking from experience, I don't know why they gave him so much money. Like he's not he's not someone that's going to. He had flashes last year with the Raiders, right? He looked good at times. He looked like someone you could actually rely on. Um, and then he had those same flashes in Philly. I think he'll have those flashes in New England, but to throw that type of money at him, I didn't get. I don't know that I expect too much from New England this year. They're not gonna be a horrible team at all, but I don't know that I expect too much from them. I think that's what a lot of people are doing, especially with Stephen Gilmore being out. He's gonna be out for like 8 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's hard. That was to me that was one of the biggest hits for them this offseason. I might it might sound crazy. I think I'm going with Miami on this game. I think I might go with Miami on this game. I like what Miami's done this offseason. Um, I think Tua has a lot to prove as well. Um, they, bro, with the way their offense looks, if Gilmore's not out there, I don't know. This could go either way, but I wouldn't be shocked if Miami pulled out this one. I would
Wow.
not be shocked.
I for one feel the exact opposite as you do. I do not rate the Dolphins as much as everyone does. I think
Yeah,
that Magic period made a lot of people feel a certain way about like, oh, if they just had a good quarterback, they could be great.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like they still have some issues that they need to address.
Oh,
I
for sure,
think I
for sure.
think as well, the pickup of Judon was very good for the Patriots this year, and
Hmm.
I feel like they're gonna have a good line. Um, Obviously, the secondary we have some issues, but I actually I for one am drinking the Kool-Aid. I think if there's anybody that can patch up all these little shory areas and make it work, it'll be Belichick. I think that there's a reason why he cut Cam. It wasn't because of the vaccine. It was because of how he felt about what he was seeing in Mac Jones. And I think that I'm not here trying to say he's Brady 2.0. I don't think he's going to have rookie of the year type numbers either. I just
Hmm.
think he's going to be a serviceable quarterback at that position. And if you get that at a first round pick in their first year, that's a lot more than a lot of people can ask for. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
I personally really like their moves. And I think yeah, I agree that that money was very high, but I feel like the money spent on the tight end position justifies that move and opens the field for him a little bit more.
That's a good point.
Um,
Yeah,
I really feel like they have a chance to be sneaky on offense and really consistent on defense, as they always find a way to be. Even when all these pieces end up falling off, they always find somebody somewhere
yeah,
to make it work.
yeah.
Obviously, nobody wants to see the Patriots do good, but I actually think they're going to win this game. I think there's just so many questions. This is another one of the teammate duos being
Yeah,
brought back together
yeah.
with Jalen Waddle and Tua. I think that familiarity, and of course with Will Fuller coming in too, he could do some things for them.
Hmm.
Um, their line looks better this year too, which you can't complain about. But I just feel
Yeah,
like they have a lot to prove on top of some issues in the secondary. So I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think this
yeah.
is going to be another sneaky good game,
It is.
um,
It is. Yeah, I think
for
it's gonna be a
sure.
high scoring game too.
hmm
Yeah.
I'm going with the Patriots though.
All right. I'm gonna stick with Miami on this one. I just something about them to me. I don't expect them to have like the biggest season, right? I don't expect them to even go to the I'm not even sure if I even have them in the playoffs, but I think that this game is gonna be interesting.
Mm,
Yeah, I think this is gonna be an interesting game for them.
nice. Well, all
Yeah,
right. This you remember when this matchup used to be so much more fun?
bro.
It was like yesterday, man.
Yeah, last year, actually.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally.
Oh man, Green Bay versus the Saints. Um, Where are they playing this? Are they playing this in Green Bay? Because I know they're supposed to be in New Orleans.
Yeah, they're in New Orleans.
They are in New Orleans.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Uh, what are your thoughts on this game? Because I don't know with the
Oh
Saints.
man, I'm upset with the Packers, man. Aaron Rodgers is one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
I'm upset with what's going on. They tried to address some of the issues. Obviously, you love to see Cobb coming in.
Hmm.
I still feel like there's questions on their line. Still feel like there's questions as far as the defensive side of the ball, and that's what matters the most in the playoffs.
Hmm.
I think getting Devondre Campbell is actually much better than a lot of people think. He
Hmm.
was from the Cardinals. I think he's going to put some work in the season. I'm just concerned that over the season they're they're going to have health issues on both sides of the ball,
Hmm.
and that they're not a deep team in my opinion. So I don't know, man. I think this first week is going to be pretty easy for Green Bay. But moving forward, I'm interested to see whether or not they're that high end playoff team that everyone expects them to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I I'm actually excited for the Saints in terms of Jameis Winston being QB1. Because I honestly like the thought of Taysom Hill being the quarterback to me made no sense.
Agreed.
It made no sense. I think people still sleep on Winston just because he has these like, goofball moments. But
Mm-hmm. The potential's there, man.
bro, after getting LASIK surgery, I've had LASIK surgery. Like
I
if
need to
he
get LASIK surgery.
if if he was able to do what he did in Tampa uh without having great eyesight, having a year under his belt in New Orleans and learning from Breeze and getting familiar with the offense, I think it's very. I think they could.
I would say this
This
is
is
what you're trying to
hard.
say. I'll say it for you. At the high end, you could see a lot of ways that Peyton gets the most out of Winston, especially
Yes,
with Alvin
yes,
Kamara, especially with Michael
yes.
Thomas. Well, obviously,
Well,
he's not too happy about being there, but
and he won't even be
um,
back. He won't be back to like week 6 or 7, I think.
yeah, but I feel like that's when this stretch is going to matter for this team. I feel like
Yeah,
they're going to start off pretty rough and then end
yeah,
up in the playoffs towards the end if that Sean Payton magic is able to work out at some point.
yeah.
I think they still have a very good defense as well,
Oh yeah,
that they
yeah,
can count on every year. Um, but it's that question again. Once again, we're in make believe land where we're just
yeah,
assuming that maybe Sean Payton can make something work and Winston looks like a brand new guy out there. I think just the issue is those turnovers. I think he's so explosive on the
yeah,
offensive end, but when it comes to taking care of the ball, they have issues. So I just expect Kamara to ball out again this season though. I think he's always going to be putting up numbers on the board. But yeah, I think this week one goes to the Packers.
I do too. I do too. But I think like you said, the Saints could pull it off at the end of the season and go on a stupid run. So
For
it's gonna be
sure.
interesting to see what happens.
Yep. Now, next up, we got the Denver Broncos versus the New York Giants. So we already started touching on this team. Let's start off with the most obvious one.
Mhm.
Please air them out for me, Derek. Please. I don't want to have to do it. I live in New York. I don't want to have to do it. I'm gonna let you do it.
Hey man, I think anyone that has any faith in the Giants. I actually talked to a Giants fan in the store the other day. Uh, he told me that he believes that Jones is better than 75% of other quarterbacks, which I thought was laughable. Uh, I don't know what they're drinking. I don't know what this fan base is just drinking because do they have good pieces? Yes. I think they did a good job this offseason. I think they did a good job. Um, but to me, the question is still it's like a two-part question. What's the offensive line going to look like? And what is Daniel Jones going to do? Because you get Galloway, I'm sorry, Galladay. You can get him, right? Like you have Barkley, but if you're gonna put entire faith on what this team is going to do and just those two players, Evan Ingram, like I don't know what you're going to get from him in terms of like consistency. He's a really good player, but like is he a consistent player? Like that's why it's so many question marks with this team. It's laughable that people think that the Giants are going to do something spectacular this year. So yeah, everyone in New York that is a fan of this team, God bless you if you actually think this is going to work. It's not going to work. I don't know why anybody still thinks Daniel Jones is the guy. Like his highlight was running for like 80 yards against the Eagles last year, and that's because of some stupid stuff that happened. I still don't know how that happened. Like
Everyone's pointing
why?
to it though. Whenever you're
Yeah,
talking about it,
yeah. Everyone's pointing to it. That's the thing that everybody wants to go and quote. But you're also banking on the Eagles to get you into the playoffs last year. I think between honestly, I think them not getting Devontae Smith was huge. I think that was a huge thing for them this season. I don't see the Giants doing much. They're going to lose this game in a very interesting way. Very interesting way. This Denver defense is they're gonna be good. I like what I
really
like.
good
I like what they have. On both sides of the ball. I don't know what I expect from them long term this season, but it just this game, Denver is going to eat.
for sure.
Denver's eating. Bridgewater is going to be Bridgewater. So I think he's going to have a field day with that defense.
I was gonna say I think
Oof.
Jones is gonna look particularly bad this week one, and everyone's
Yeah.
gonna be talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to
Yeah,
be
man,
very interesting. This is not even one to even really watch either. This is one of
for
those.
sure.
This is one of those games you
There
put
is
on
stuff
because the
to
other
watch
game
here though.
ended. Yeah,
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 true,
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Right, because the other game's
yeah,
done. The other game's already
yeah,
a blowout.
yeah,
There's some
yeah.
stuff to watch out for though. Particularly, I want to see how the Broncos offense does. I think
Yes.
they had some questions in the fact that they are 100% going with Bridgewater over Lock. I feel like a couple bad games, and now that conversation is being opened up again. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's whenever you're, in my opinion, if you're a team that has a good defense and you have these issues on this side of the ball, I would never like you as far as being an actual contender for the Super Bowl, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, this is the teams that everyone sort of points to, like, oh, imagine if this guy went here, like
Mm-hmm.
this team will be unstoppable, like they'll have
Yep.
everything they need.
Yep.
I think
Another place
even
for Cam Newton.
literally
Yeah.
literally another option. But
Yeah.
I don't even know if he would be the answer. I feel like their issues lie in a lot of player development and sort of hoping that certain players get better. And I think that's just a tough thing to bank on when you have one side of the ball that's so dominant, and then another side of the ball that you really can't be confident in anything. I think week to week there could be matchups where Bridgewater just goes off and it
Yeah.
looks like he's one of the best QBs, and then there could be weeks where literally they're calling for lock.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
interested to see how it looks. I'm interested to see, like you mentioned, the Giants' offense and of course the defense too. I think if Bridgewater looks good here, that's just indicative that their chances to win this division aren't too good, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. This will be a very telling game
For
for
sure.
sure. I like this game will tell you New York is going to either have an okay year or they're going to have a rough year. This is those are only two options for New York. They're not going to have a spectacular season. Like Barkley, fantasy wise, yeah, yeah, he'll eat like always, but that's about it. I'm not expecting much from them at all. So another
Mhm.
blowout to me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Another blowout.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you're picking the Broncos too.
Yes, sir.
Moving on, the next up matchup, I wanna lead the dance here. So
Yes,
we
sir.
have Chicago going up against LA. I want to start off with Chicago because this is another team that I am just so confused about, man. I'm so confused about them. So obviously they got their big first round QB. They got Justin Fields, which I think was a
Traded
great
for him.
pick. Exactly I think was a great pick. They went out and got him. They didn't wait for something crazy to happen. They moved
Mhm.
up and got him, and I think that was important because this fan base is ready to jump off a cliff. Like I feel
They
like
are.
if any fan base is ready to tear down the walls of the stadium right
Yeah.
now, it's this one. I think if this doesn't work out in the long term, or even if they take too long getting him out there, you could see the fans turn on them mid game. I think that will happen at some
Yeah.
point. The fact that they're not going with him in week one doesn't really make sense to me. I think out of the five QBs, he's one of them that I will point to as being NFL ready,
Yeah.
which I don't
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
why they would wait. Andy Dalton is a backup QB. I never thought Andy Dalton was a good QB for any situation. So
Yeah.
um, it was good to have him in for insurance, but it just felt like I don't know. Every week we're going to be just waiting for him to come in. I think that their offense can be sneaky good, um, but once again, you're relying on your defense with a
Hmm.
mediocre quarterback until you decide to make the right move. So they just uh, constantly confusing team for me, and there's a lot of obvious answers you could point to and say you should try this, but we'll see
Yeah.
when they decide to. And then on the other side of the ball, you have some of the best moves in the entire season, entire off season.
Bro.
I know you like their wide receiver pickup with Deshaun Jackson.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy for
Yeah,
him, honestly.
I'm glad
Yeah.
he's got a spot. I think their options are very slept on as well. I think
Oh yeah.
Cup, Woods, they can do big things this season. And Stafford, I think Stafford in this situation is way better than Stafford would be in almost any other situation. I think there's a lot of expectations on him right now, but I
Yes.
think he has the line and he has the firepower on offense to sort of shore up his issues. I
Yeah.
think their RB play is a problem. I think
Hmm.
they need to get consistent rushes from somebody, and whoever's going to step up and do that hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
So obviously they're leaning on Henderson right now, but we'll see how that goes by the end of the season. I feel like it might be a RB by committee
And they just traded for
sort of
Michelle.
situation. Exactly.
Yeah.
But once again, that's the classic RB by just using whoever you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they definitely, if they had that a good productive RB, I would say they are a top three team.
I
Honestly,
wouldn't even be mad at that because like honestly, I think this might be a hot take depending on how you look at it. If they had Matt Stafford in the Super Bowl instead of Jared Goff,
they would have won. I agree.
they would
They
have
would
won
have
that
won
game. They would have won that game. I like
for
that's
sure.
literally the only glaring issue that they had.
Hmm.
So
And since then, their defense has regressed. I will admit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You have to point to those things, but I
yeah.
think that they got a good reason to be excited. That's all I'm gonna say. I think
Yeah,
they're gonna have a great time this year, and I think they should make the playoffs no matter what happens. But I'm leaning more towards a card spot for them. So,
yeah. Deshaun Jackson will not be someone that they're gonna rely heavily on in the receiving game.
which is what frees them up.
Which well,
Frees them
see,
up.
and that's the thing. Like even like last year, like I don't think that he was someone that was relied upon. But he gave you those big plays. I think he had like two touchdowns, for like 50 plus yards receiving or something like that.
Hmm.
And then that was it. That was it.
Yep,
He's gonna be someone that's gonna be on the sideline most of the season. Again,
for
that
sure.
will happen. So I think that he's a good insurance policy in terms of like downfield coverage or something like that. I think he'll be someone that they'll have fun with. But their two guys are going to be Cup and Woods, so they're going to be fun to watch this year, man. This is going to
Hmm.
be this is going to be this is going to be one of those games that I think is going to be interesting because of the offense defense matchup. LA's offense, Chicago's defense. If for some reason Andy Dalton gets knocked out this game, or he's not having a good game, just not even just injured, he's just not having a good game. Do you think that they would go with Justin Fields, or would they just go ahead and put Nick Foles in?
Man, at this state, I honestly think they are gonna put Nick Foles in.
It's
I don't,
weird. It's
and it's
so
so
weird.
weird. It's so weird. Like, are you trying to be the Eagles? Like, I don't
Yeah,
understand. Are
bro.
you trying?
That's what I'm saying. Like like uh, I would understand it if they didn't trade up.
Exactly.
If they didn't trade up to get Justin Fields and somehow he just fell in their lap, okay. That's
like
one thing.
like the Mac Jones situation. And they
Yeah.
did the right thing by freeing up his lane. I
Yeah.
think 100% they should have freed up his lane. And real quick, the only reason I'm so high on the Deshaun Jackson pickup is because of the reasons you said. They're not. If you have him on your receiving core and you're expecting him to do big things, you have a problem. I
Yeah.
think he's going to be a big downfield threat. And I would argue this is another hot take. I don't know why I have so many LA hot takes. I would argue that between Mahomes, Allen, he's up there top three for the best arms in the NFL as far as going downfield
Going
and
downfield,
making those passes.
yeah.
So
It's
I'm
just that he's
interested
not
to see
available.
how that looks. Exactly.
It's the only thing.
Exactly.
It's the only thing. So you got LA win this game?
Yeah, I definitely got LA in this game. I will say I'm a little more bullish, even though we have all these hot takes. I don't think they're going to be going too far in the postseason this year, but
Yeah,
I definitely like them as a team to watch this season.
for sure, for sure, for sure. And Matt Stafford, another fantasy pickup. Like
Mhm.
that's another guy I think everyone should be rushing to get for sure.
But I'm just excited to see Fields whenever they do release him because
Oh my god.
they have some potential, little potential offense options to
Yeah,
have some fun for sure.
yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. All right, so we got the last game, Monday Night Football. You need to go ahead and kick this off.
Let's go, my Ravens, baby.
Yes,
So
sir.
I would say this season is tough, and I'm going to start off right there saying that this season is tough. I personally don't like some of the moves that my beautiful team made, but I'm going to pump them up anyway. So
Yeah.
the reason why I took issue with our first round pick is just I feel like with us losing so many big pieces, obviously we lost Orlando Brown, we lost Ngakwe to the Raiders,
Yeah.
and Judon to the Patriots. We lost some big pieces on that line, and I
Yeah.
wish they would have got somebody for that because they already addressed the wide receiver issue in some ways.
Hmm.
I don't think Sammy Watkins is a great wide receiver one at all.
Not at all.
Um, and I don't think Rashad Bateman is that guy either. And that's my issue with the pick. If you're going to use that high up pick, you sort of need that guy, and we still
Hmm.
don't have him.
Hmm.
Um, it's so strange for me though, because the more I think about us going out and getting that guy, I don't know if that's what would be best for the team. Like I just feel like at this point, we need to shore up some of the holes that we lost.
Hmm.
But as far as the moves that were made, I think the offense is going to be more productive this season in the passing route, regardless. I think I expect, man, I expect Lamar to have a great year this year. I think it's going to be a lot more run heavy than people think, just
Yeah.
because even though we have these added weapons, I think that's where his bread is buttered, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like on the other side of the ball is going to be our biggest issue, and I think it might even show itself in this game. I think if we can't be consistent in pressuring the old reliable car, we're going to have some problems.
Yeah.
But I ultimately like my team's chances this season. I think that they are going to be a playoff team. I got them winning the division, but it could go either way. I could see a situation where they really underachieved this year, and people are starting to call whether or not that big contract is worth it or not with Lamar Jackson. So I could
Yeah.
see I could see some bad scenarios. I could also see some really high upside scenarios where we might even be contending at the end of the season. But I'm tempering my expectations. I'm not going Super Bowl this year. I thought we had a chance last year. This year, I don't
Hmm.
feel that way. I feel this year's a real telling year as far as how it goes and then how they respond. But
Yeah.
this first week, I think should be a fun matchup. I think a lot of people sleep on the Raiders. I was about to call them Oakland. A
No.
lot
Yeah.
of
No,
people
man.
sleep on the Raiders, man.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have a fun offense this year. They got a two-headed RB snake over there, and I
Yes.
think they're gonna be doing some good things. But yeah, it's gonna be cool to see Ngakwe against us week one, and whether or not he makes some big plays and gets revenge against us.
Yeah. This game is hard for me to call. Because I could see both teams winning, and I could see both teams losing. It's one of those things that's like to me it's a coin flip. This one could be this could go either way. I'm gonna go ahead and choose the Raiders pulling it out. Like not this is gonna be really close, but I'm gonna go ahead and choose them right now. But I'm only gonna choose them like that. That to me, that pick is only written in pencil.
Mhm.
Because I don't trust them like overall. But Derek Carr has these games where he just goes off, and then he has these games where he's nowhere to be found. Because of the losses that you guys have on defense, that's why I'm thinking that it's very possible that they could win this one. I think this is going to be. I think this game will be lost because of your defense, not your offense.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Time will tell.
I don't
Time
know.
will
Yeah,
tell.
time will tell. I think Baltimore has a lot of interesting things. My issue is that people put so much pressure on Lamar in terms of saying like if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, it doesn't get to the Super Bowl within you know the like what the next year or so, then it's a bust. I don't. I think that's dramatic. Some teams just don't have their teams built the right way for the playoff run. But some things just it just sometimes falls that way. I think that he has the potential to be the guy that leads you guys to the next Super Bowl. I think he definitely has that potential. It's just it might just take another couple of years,
For
and
sure.
that's okay. Like that's not you don't want to, especially with the losses that you guys incurred. I don't think that there's um I don't think there's a need to put this on him.
Exactly.
Like if you guys kept your team the way it was last year, with like minor moves, and then you didn't win, I could see more of that, that being more of a case for maybe considering. But then again, I don't know why anybody will move on from Lamar Jackson. That's the thing. Like to me, that's an overreaction. Just just build a team properly. Sometimes you have to tinker with these things a little bit, but I think the Raiders could pull this out, but it'll be like a field goal type thing. I don't think this is going to be a shutout. It's going to be a
For
fun game
sure.
though. It's going to be a very fun game.
Now this is the fun part. This is the part that I didn't even tell you about because I'm gonna put you on
Okay.
the spot.
All right.
So we're gonna be making some quick picks here, straight off the top of the dome. Who do you think is gonna be the offensive rookie of the year?
Devontae Smith.
The homer pick. I love it.
Yep. Devontae Smith.
And any reasons why? Just the love.
His footwork, bro.
Mm.
That footwork has. I've seen that confuse a lot of people just in the last couple of weeks. Like
It is what it
there's nothing
is.
else I gotta say. The
I feel
footwork, the
you.
hands, the speed, the length with the arms, like dude to me just has a whole package. It's just that people gonna knock him for being skinny as a rail. Like whatever. He looks durable to me, so I'm going with
Got
him.
you.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
I personally am gonna go with Mac Jones. I think he has the best scenario out of all the QBs
yeah,
to go off.
yeah.
I don't think he's going to be the Brady 2.0, but I don't think they need Brady 2.0 from him.
They
I
don't.
think they have a very serviceable team and just the right weapons around him to make him look better than he even could be right now. So I got Mac Jones in that slot. What about defensive rookie of the year? What are you thinking?
Ooh, I can never pronounce his name. But the linebacker that Cleveland picked up.
Hmm. He looks dangerous,
I'm
man.
going with him. Yeah,
I really rate Micah Parsons, man. I'm going with Micah Parsons. I think that the film for both of them has stood out.
yep.
But I think I think on a team that has a potential to be pretty good and being the big centerpiece on defense does a lot for that award.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of pieces in that defense that are going to be great alongside Karamoa. So,
Hmm.
but trust me, I wouldn't mind that either. I think he's going to be a beast this year too and get some real good numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, now the last two we got. Who you picking for MVP this year?
Ooh. See, this is the hard thing about MVP. MVP always goes to a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's kind of hard to really give that one like to who I would want to give it to. Um but I'm let me choose a quarterback then. I think Matt Stafford has a chance to be a sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
the Rams are like, if he does anything remotely close to what he did in Detroit with this team, I think we're going to be looking at him as being MVP. I think we have a possibility of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I would think for that to work out, they would have to have top 3 record in the league. Um,
It's
Unless he
possible.
goes crazy.
That's the
Yeah,
thing. It's possible. I'm not saying it will happen, but I think it's possible. He's my
sure.
sleeper.
I like it. I
I'll give him
like it.
my sleeper. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I personally, I love going with all reliable. I think I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes. I think everyone loves all the options of these new people coming up, and loves thinking about who's gonna do what. I think the fact that they retained a lot of their options. They lost a couple weapons, but
Yeah.
I feel like the weapons that they have, you don't need anything else from your supplementary guys. You have what you need.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have a big year and remind people why he's been in the Super Bowl for the last 2. So I'm going with Mahomes there.
Yeah.
And then
That's the sure
finally,
bet.
literally the sure bet. I'm hoping I cash
Yeah.
this bet.
Yeah.
So finally, this is a tough one. I got to pull up my AFC and NFC divisions for this, but
Yeah.
what's your Super Bowl prediction? Who do you think is going to be in the big game, and who do you have winning it all this season?
All right. Early prediction. I tend to give the defending champs the the slot in the Super
Hmm.
Bowl because I think it's very possible, just out of respect. So I'm gonna
For sure.
go Bucks versus Bills.
Wow.
I'm going Bucks versus Bills, but I definitely believe that NFC pick could be changed. I don't think they're repeating.
Got you.
I
Got
don't
you.
think they're repeating. If I want to actually say what I want to say, everybody's gonna hate me for it, but I would say Eagles Bills.
Mm,
If I said
can't
what I really
believe you
wanted to
did
say,
it. I can't believe you did it.
look, man, my guy Jonathan. I know you watch this, bro. He and I've discussed this for the last 2 years. We think that matchup is going to happen at some point. I like does it happen this year? Likely not, but yeah, that's what I want to say. But I'll go ahead and say on record it'll be Bucks versus Bills. But
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. All right. All right. I
yeah,
think I'm having such a hard time with this, man. I've been flip-flopping on this all day,
yeah.
but I'm just gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what nobody else has the balls to do. I'm gonna say it right now. I think that we will see the Bucks back in the championship game,
Mhm.
but this is where I differ from everybody else. I think that you're gonna see Bucks versus the Chiefs again. Everyone's been
Oh
talking
my
about
god, man.
the Bills are going to be going to the
Yeah,
Super Bowl. The
yeah.
Browns are going to the Super Bowl. No, I don't want to hear any of that. I think Mahomes is a generational talent, and
Yes,
everyone, because he's so great in a way, everyone sleeps on him. I think they retained a lot of what makes them great, and they're going to be doing good things this year. I ultimately have the Chiefs finally winning a Super Bowl this year. I think
yes.
that they're able to find a way to make it work in the rematch. That'll be dope though, man. If we have a rematch this season, I think it's really possible for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you on that one, man. That's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. Very interesting. But all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But before we do, Chris, give them your social media.
Yes, sir. So you can find me on Twitter on Negron MMA. That's where I would love to interact with some of you guys. I'm looking forward to do some stuff on future cards, and who even knows, maybe looking at some stuff in the past and looking at old school MMA and how we got to this point because it's a very young sport. It's only been around for 25 years.
Yeah.
But that's my Twitter. Come follow me there. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you guys for having me. It was dope, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these picks turned out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. At Derrick underscore OTS. And you can find at OTS guys on every platform. And give us a follow. Let us know what you think. And stay tuned. We have a lot of stuff coming for you guys. We'll catch
All
y'all
right.
later.
Peace.